So yes, so great evening, great evening. We'll get started in just 1 second. But while you are waiting, put in the chat where you are tuning in from. Also, where you tuning in from? How did you find out about this session tonight? And if this is your first time with us, name host. Okay, sure all my stuff is like it's supposed to be. As well. So it's 8:01. We'll start in just a second. Just a second. Yay.
You got it.
Wonderful. So are you a realtor as well? Is Latrice, is that how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. Appreciate you being here. How long have you been a realtor? Welcome, Mariah. Hey, Kimmy. Wonderful. 2 years. Awesome, awesome. Way to stay in the game. I'm sure there's a lot of people who start that don't stay, right? So Lisa, there's a lot of people who don't that start and don't stay. So congratulations to you for having.
It's harder than it seems.
Say it again.
I said because it's harder than it seems. I mean,
Entrepreneurship is working with
yeah.
yourself. Let me write that down. That's a whole different that's a whole session in itself. Let me put
Yes,
that on.
it is. Yes, it is, honey.
Yes. So look.
Make sure to sign in with that one. I need to.
I'm gonna do a panel with that one. I think doing a panel from different perspectives would be a good one. Sometimes I do panels.
Yep, that's good.
All right. Let's see who else put in the chat. Go ahead and start this party.
You typed a quote in, Miss Denise.
Did I do what?
I said, did you type the quote in, what she said about entrepreneurship?
I didn't. I just know I'm going to do a let's talk about Tuesday with it, because I know that's
Okay.
So welcome everybody. Put in the chat if this is your first time. Put in the chat where you're tuning in from. Put in the chat who invited you. How did you find out about tonight's session? And give it one more minute. I'm gonna get started. Just kind of introduce you to Empowered by Ideas before we have our guest speaker share with us her expertise in her field. How long have you been in it, Telesa?
14 years.
14 years. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can tell somebody about some ups and downs, can't you?
Ooh, child, and some sideways.
Right. All of that. Yeah, me too. All of that. Let me pull something up so I can make sure I have that one already. Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Let me share my screen. Just to introduce you guys, since we have some new people on, of who we are, why we do what we do. Okay. Awesome, awesome. Well, great evening, everybody. I am the dynamic, daring, one-of-a-kind diva, Denise Silas. I am the founder and one of the three of Empowered by DS. Welcome to Let's Talk About It Tuesday. Our whole goal for Empowered by DS is to empower women to be the best version of themselves in the current season of their lives. And we do it in various ways. So these are our signature events. I do the business Empowered by DS with my daughters. We've been doing this probably officially we're coming on 2 years, but at the beginning of the end of 2022 is when we had our very first event, now knowing it was going to be a business. But since 2023 we've been going strong. So we have our signature empowerment breakfasts that we do At the beginning of the year, we always do a vision board experience. And then at the end of the year, we do a vision to victory experience just to celebrate women for what they have done. Because a lot of times people have vision board parties and they get lost in the shuffle and nobody ever inspects what they expect. So we do that. And then we have what's called Diva Dinner and Dialogue. I'll talk a little bit more about that. But through conversations, we want to connect women and create community. Of course, this is our Let's Talk About It Tuesday. We had our very first retreat where we did a 1-day retreat to Nashville, had a phenomenal time with that. And then every year in memory of my sister, I do a Feel This Heal Your Hottest Heal for Ovarian Cancer Awareness as well. And these are my two beautiful daughters pictured with me here. In addition to that, so our whole goal is to be able to serve women in the areas of their faith, their family and their relationships, their finances and their career, their fitness and their wellness, as well as their fun. So I cover them all. I do an annual, yearly devotional to help them there. I also offer group coaching and one-on-one coaching. We do an empowerment subscription box. So I have a lot of people that I'm connected with outside of the area. So we have an empowerment box that serves them in a way to help them stay focused on the things that are important to them as well. And then at the end of the year, we do what's called an adopt a grandparent as one of the ways that we give back on top of the ovarian cancer. We do have a Facebook community, so I invite you to look us up, the Side Tribe, and we'd love for you to be a part of our community as well. So this is what we have coming up next. So instead of us doing a in-person empowerment breakfast, we're going to do a virtual one on the 21st of the month. Where you see those words, if you text Empower Me, DDD, or Teal to those that particular number, you'll have the information come right directly to your phone. I'm excited about our mid-year inspection. You always want to inspect what you expect. So at that, we're going to focus on kind of you revisiting what you said you wanted to do, recapping what you did, reviewing that, regrouping, and then getting you recharged to restart. So I invite you. It's a Monday night. We're going to do it for a couple of hours, and I promise you're going to leave with something ready to have the best next 6 months than you had your first 6 months. On the 1st of August is our next Diva Dinner and Dialogue. We do a conversation piece, and then we have an activity piece. So the August 1st is our activity. So we do, the whole purpose of those is social self-care. People say, oh yeah, just getting together and hang out. No, it's all about social self-care, guys, because we need each other. Don't think you can be out there on the island by yourself. The great thing about our community that we're building, we have a lot of people who come back and just making connections, being able to be in an environment of women who are positive, no mess. Because I hate when people say they don't deal with women because they're messy. That's not my world. So I'm not sure who y'all dealing with. So I want to bring y'all into the community of the women I deal with who are there to support you, encourage you, and have fun with you. So that is on the 1st, and that's also my birthday weekend. So come and hang out with us for that. We had a phenomenal time in June, and I promise you we're going to be even better in August. Then I want you to put on your calendar, save the date for September 23rd. September is Ovarian Cancer Awareness month. So we'll be doing our fundraising efforts and our awareness efforts to help women learn more about ovarian cancer. This is our 15th one in memory of my sister. You'll see a lot of teal around here. Teal is the color for ovarian cancer. So we use that color to honor my sister as well for our signature color as well. So we do that. And then we have partnered with James Gym that we're going to have a dance fit on that's September 12th. So you'll be able to dance for a cause as well. So please connect. You're here. We're here every Tuesday for the most part. So this is our lineup for the month. You're going to have the awesome and amazing, tenacious Telesa on tonight. So you're going to have her tonight, but you guys next week we'll be talking about beating the burnout cycle. A lot of us, I'm sure we can all raise our hand that at some season of your life you felt like you were burnt out. So we have that. Then on the 15th, Dr. Amelia, her and her husband have a marriage ministry. And when Love Hurts, she's going to talk to you about how to heal after feeling betrayed, being betrayed in your relationship, whether it's infidelity, whether it's just trust on money, trust on anything. but she's going to come with us. So I am excited about having her. So whether you are a married woman, a woman in a relationship, this would be great for you as well. And then the last one that's on here is Kim is going to talk about just the courage to change your career. Sometimes we get stuck somewhere just because we have to be there, but she totally changed her career. She's going to share some information about that. And then the final, because there's another Tuesday in July, my oldest daughter who has got out of college and had been in her career for about 5 years, just going to talk about the transition from coming out of college and really navigating a career and being able to have a voice in as a young person dealing with older people as well. So you have now the link. It's the same link every Tuesday. So you can pop in now that, if you don't want to get additional text, you can just text stop back to the number. But now that you've attended, you will get information. And I tell people, just come when you can, or come that makes sense to you or make a difference for you, or make sure share with other people. Because the whole purpose, you guys, of Let's Talk About It Tuesday is to help women have a space for us to have a conversation about things that maybe we don't know who to ask, or things that's going to help make us a difference to be the best version of ourselves in the current season. So I promise you it's going to be a variety. We have menopause coming for those of y'all who like me. In that season, we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship. We done decided that today. We don't do that. But there's a variety of things. And if there's anything that you say, hey, I would love to know more about, please shoot me a text. I would research, find somebody to get on here. And sometimes it's just finding women who have experience and just having a conversation. It doesn't always have to be an expert, because sometimes I believe if we are living that life, we have become an expert. I call it ME, Master in Experience. Anybody got a master's in experience? Because y'all can tell somebody some stuff from what you've been through. And sometimes that's better to have girl, just tell me for real. What did you do? Right? What did you do? We'll have one of my friends talking about just recovering from divorce. Like, it's several things. So check out our website, you guys, to learn more about the things that we do. And then follow us on all platforms as well. Facebook, TikTok, all those good things as well. So we would love for you to connect with us and then join our Decide tribe. So had to get that out real quick so that you guys can be connected with us. But I'm excited. I'm excited to have my girlfriend on. So I'm going to read her bio, and then I'll bring up your PowerPoint. Then we take it from there. Okay, Telesa?
Okay.
So Telesa Smith Wright is a luxury certified real estate broker, award-winning author, certified elevation coach, and national speaker. She is the managing broker of Bespoke Realty, founder of LIT Ladies in Training Summer Camps, and author of Look Back for What, a proud HER Award recipient and a NABA.
National Association of Mortgage Brokers of America.
That board member. Telesa empowers women and communities through healing, leadership, and legacy. So I want to thank you, as I'm changing over, for taking the time, because one of the things I always tell women is that, when I invite them to come, of course, I know that you can be all over America being paid to do this. So the fact that you're willing to share your expertise with my community, I thank you for that. I appreciate you for that. And I understand there's going to be one day I'm going to host something and everybody going to get paid. It just ain't happened yet. It ain't happened yet, but let me pull up your PowerPoint. We can get you started.
All righty. Hey, guys.
There we go. All right. It's coming up.
Okay. So obviously, some of you guys were probably on here last week. All of what I'm talking about comes after the pre-approval process, because I always say, don't start looking for a house if you don't know how much money you got. You don't want to be shopping and window shopping. So you get your pre-approval first, so you know how much house you can afford, and then you start thinking about what type of house I want. So finding the right house. Y'all like how I did the right home. Y'all see how I did the play on words with my last name. So again, I am your trusted real estate broker. And I also want to say that I am not a national speaker. My PR lady tends to say that because I've spoken in different states, but not on a national level yet.
Wouldn't national be considered you may not be international, but I think you're national. I think if you cross states, that make you national, right? Do y'all
Yeah,
agree? I think so. I'm gonna look that
she
up. But
says it
I'm
does.
with you, Denise. This is Relinda. I'm with you. I agree too. Once
I
you
think
cross
it.
state
That's what my
lines,
PR
hey,
lady said. She said, "Baby, you done spoken enough states. We're going to say national speaker." So I said,
Yeah,
"Okay."
I think international is when you cross, but I think national is when you nationally known. We going I believe that to be true. Um,
Okay, well, hey, I received the empowerment sisters. Okay, so Bespoke is our real estate brokerage. My husband and I, we have one in Mississippi and Tennessee, and we just recently acquired a license in Arkansas. So now we are a tri-state brokerage. So we help many people. We got about 20 agents within our office. Latrice is one of them. Thank you for attending, Latrice. And so this is what we do. So I guess we'll get started, and then I just have a few things in this PowerPoint, but I want you guys to ask me as many questions as possible. I'm great at answering questions off the top of the dome. As she said, I've been doing this for 14 years, so it's just up here. So let's
next, just let me know when you want me to go to your next pages.
get to the next one.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing I ask my clients are because when you get into the house hunting process, your mind will just start going all over the place. I think the most important thing is to have your must-haves and your nice-to-haves because you don't want to get lost in the process. We have people that'll find a house and then they fall in love with the fireplace and it's over. They don't forget about everything else, the kids, they don't forget about the school district, they don't forget about everything. So we say, what are your top three must-haves in a home? There may be a garage. You may need your primary downstairs, and you want to be separated from the kids, or you want a one story. What are your must haves? So that's going to be the first thing that we want to focus on because that is primary, what you must have. What features would be a bonus, and what's a deal breaker? Some people, if it doesn't have a yard, that's a deal breaker. And the thing I love about real estate is that it only takes one person to love it. So everybody is different, every home is different. Well, not everyone. Now they have these new constructions, and they're all, some of them look alike, but everybody has their, this would be nice, and this is a deal breaker. Some people don't like cul-de-sacs. And this is the first time I've ever come across a client like this. Most clients love the cul-de-sac, but she said that's a deal breaker for me because what if something happens and I can't get out? What if, so what's a deal breaker? These are things you want to think about so that you can have a list and share those things with your agent. Um, are you okay with a fixer up or do you want something move-in ready? That's where your budget comes in. You can't expect to pay a small price for a move-in ready house on a, like on a fixer up a budget. If it's priced lower, you're gonna have to put money in it. If it's move-in ready, it's gonna cost you a little bit more. So you think, am I willing to put money in it, to pay less for the house? Or do I need something that I can move in and not have to do nothing to? So this is very important. And then would you give up square footage for a better location? Like, would you rather stay in Olive Branch with 2,500 square feet or go in South Haven for 3,000 square feet for the same price? So you have to ask yourself, like, will I give up square footage for locations? Because the locations like, for instance, in DeSoto County, Olive Branch is the most expensive place in DeSoto County to live. If you go to Hernando, you can get the same house here and it's going to be a great deal cheaper. And if you go to South Haven, every area goes down in price from Olive Branch, but it's the highest price area in DeSoto County. So if you want to live in Olive Branch, you're going to have to be willing to give up some square footage. So,
Before we move on, because I think sometimes you don't know the must-haves. I think about the couple times I've had to go look for houses, and until I got in the house, sometimes I didn't even know that I didn't like that, or oh, I gotta have that. So, can you give a few examples where people have had, because that may trigger people to think about some things, some items that have been on people's must-have list that maybe I didn't realize, but that would be a must have for me too. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah, like for instance, some people cannot not have a garage. That is a must have. I have to have a two-car garage because I can't leave my car parked out, So any house that doesn't have a two-car garage is out of the search for them. And then there's I must have a bonus room because I work from home. Everybody is different. I must have a space for office, or if they're homeschool parents, they must have a bonus room. Some people, if they're older parents, I must have a downstairs. So it just depends on the person and what their needs are, 'cause so some things are a deal killer. And, like me, I have my father-in-law living here. I had to have a bonus area for him, or the house is a deal, it's a deal killer for me because without that, it's just not gonna work. I need an office, which is what I'm sitting in now. So people have to decide based on what their lifestyle is, what type of house they need. Because like a fireplace, for instance. Some people say, I don't want a house if it ain't got a fireplace. I've been waiting all my life to buy a house. And I've always dreamed of a fireplace. And then some people say, well, I would like to have one, but I don't have to.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Okay. Cool.
anybody have any questions about what I just said? No? Okay. Go to
But
the next.
that was definitely good.
Well, do you consider a feature or must have? Like, I guess, is that
Yeah, a feature.
different? I don't know.
I mean, it depends on you if it's a must have or not, because like I said, it's up to the person, but they are features. Like even particularly the island, some people they don't want their staircases facing a certain way. It's the like I must have because the must haves is just personal. And then you can say, well, this is nice to have, but it doesn't matter. It's not a deal breaker. So yeah, so features are considered a must have.
When we moved here, we had was coming from Maryland, and we had this big wall unit. So it had bookcases with it, big TV and everything. So that was a must have, like, because we weren't getting rid of that. So when we walked in, and it's literally, we walked in the house. If the wall wasn't big enough, we just walked back out.
Right. So that was a must have for you. And,
Yes.
and I have a client, he had a big budget and he would pull up, the yard wasn't big enough. He wouldn't even go inside the house. He'd be like, this ain't it. And he would just keep going because a must have for him was enough space to put to park his vehicles and possibly build something on the land, which he's already done for his mom. So like if the land wasn't enough, he would just like literally he wouldn't even get out the car. He'd be like, keep going. So that's a deal breaker for that. That would be one of those things where it's like it's a beautiful house, but it doesn't have what I must have.
Right. Gotcha. Okay. Pretty
And
cool.
don't let nobody sell you a house that has something you had a must have on the list, and somebody is being like pressuring when it comes. It's like that's settling, and this is a huge purchase. When people get tired and be like, "I'll just take this one to lease," I'm like, "No, you won't, because what you won't do is be sitting in here looking in this house talking about she sold me this. No, I
Right.
want you to be in here and be happy with me.
Right.
This is not
Right.
something you settled on. It's a big purchase."
Right. That's a good point.
Mm.
You walk into a bathroom like, it ain't what I thought, but I guess it doesn't matter. Yep, it does. Something small as your bathroom. All right, go ahead.
So location, and your lifestyle. Now, if you're looking, here's my thought. There's a difference in living in Olive Branch and South Haven. Olive Branch is a lot more settled than over there in Snowden Grove, right? There's a lot going on. They got restaurants and stuff like that. They got events and stuff. And so if you're the type of person that likes to be in the middle of stuff, living in Snowden is where it's at right now. You buy a house over there, but if you like quiet neighborhoods and stuff like that, this is what you're gonna find in Olive Branch. If you like walking trails, or I put in there quiet, walkable, or popping, I would consider Snowden popping because that's popping for DeSoto County. So you have to think about that. Do you have kids? And if you do, um, what is the school district that matters to you? Because a lot of people they want to be in, let's say DeSoto Central School District, and they may think just because I'm in South Haven, I'm in DeSoto Central School District, but you're not. You're in Greenbrook area. Greenbrook, is that what you call it? The
Yes.
Greenbrook area. So then now you're in South Haven schools instead of DC. So you have to think about what matters to you. And then there's different types of communities, gated communities, like established neighborhoods, there's a lot of people who prefer to establish neighborhoods because they're if I might just be honest, new construction is beautiful and stuff, but it's not as stable as those houses that's been there for a while because they didn't build them as fast. They built them better. Some people want to be somewhere where there are no HOAs, and all new construction communities have HOAs. Personally, I have a love-hate relationship with HOAs because I do like that.
HOA, in case we have people, what's an HOA?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's a homeowners association, and you usually pay that once a year, but you pretty much pay people to tell you what to do. They be like, you cannot paint your house that color. Your grass cannot look like that. Your trash can has been out too long. They'll send you fines and stuff. So that you pay people to tell you what to do. Now, in some cases, I like HOA because I believe in protecting the value of my house. And if you living next to somebody that and there's no HOA, they could paint their house purple, and nobody's gonna want to buy it next to them. Your houses will be a little harder to sell if the house next to them is purple. So that HOA does protect your value, but these are things you should be thinking about when you're looking to purchase a house. Do I want to pay a HOA a year? Does that matter to me? Um, because also HOAs protect communities. So you can, some people call it protection, some people call it like you. I'm trying to be mindful of my words, but the HOA can also stop investors from coming into your neighborhoods. So they can set up rules and stuff like that. So you don't have to worry about a lot of renters being in the neighborhood, which they also say bring down the value. We do believe that an investor can come in and follow the HOA rules. We shouldn't be able to tell people what to do with their houses, but that is what they do. So you just have to think about, whether you want to be in an established neighborhood or you want new construction. And I always say that depends on what your goals are. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, because that is a big thing to think about. And right now, because we're on the border of Mississippi and Tennessee, we also have to be mindful that you can live either one. So you think like if this doesn't work for me in Mississippi, I can't find what I want. Am I open to going to Tennessee? And then some people don't want to come to Mississippi because I've had so many clients tell my girl, we ain't finna fool with the police down there. I personally feel safer.
Right.
I'm like, I'm okay with the police down here because I mind my business and I ain't doing nothing wrong. But then there's also the aspects of taxes. Some people say, well, I want to stay in Tennessee because there are no state taxes. But then some people say, I want to come to Mississippi because the property taxes are a lot cheaper. So these are things you think about. And then depending on what city you live in, Mississippi and Tennessee, you got to consider like resale value, like which one is constantly building, which one is constantly growing. Is it going down in value? So that also goes with what are your goals? What are your goals for your property? I tell my beginning babies, like, do you plan on staying in this? Because statistically, we only stay in a house 5 to 7 years. That's statistically. So are you planning on getting this house and then selling it and moving out later? Or are you planning on this being your forever home? Now, if you planning on staying in this house 5 years and then moving out, new construction, I think it's excellent because the value is going to go up, especially if you start out with the first phase, because every phase is between $3,000 and $5,000 rise. So if you start out there, every time they open up another phase, you're just building equity, and that's your money. So if you're planning on doing that, then I always say go with that route. And then not to mention, new construction has an amazing amount of incentives that you won't get from a seller in an existing home. So, most of them are giving you $10,000 back, some up to $25,000 in credits, for you to build a fence or to upgrade your appliances. They're giving you so much right now because it's a lot of people don't want to say it, but it's actually a buyer's market again. Hasn't been a buyer's market in a long time, but it's a buyer's market now. So with that being said, they're offering a lot of things, $10,000 towards your closing costs. And so they give incentives that you won't be able to get in an existing home. And unfortunately and fortunately, houses don't really lose their value like that. So you may have a new construction sitting right next to an existing home, and the value is going to be kind of the same if the square footage is the same, because houses, they don't lose their value like cars and stuff. So it's what the market says it's worth. So does anybody have any questions about this?
I do have a question. So you know how people will buy a home and then they say, would they just would put their children in a private school? What are your
Mhm.
thoughts about that? Is it better to buy a home in the area of the school that you would can, if you can to do that versus buy the home and still have to pay all that extra money for education?
Well, it's interesting that you asked that because I actually live in a Olive Branch in a very good school district, and it was perfect, for me. And I think that they still have a good school, but my kids went to middle school, public school, but I pay for private school now. Um, I live in Olive Branch, but they go to school in Cordova. And so I think it's all depends on why. See, I didn't put my kids in private school because of my concern for the education of the area. So if the school is meeting your needs, I would say buy the house in the area, spend more for the money, more money on the house, to be in the school district than go somewhere and spend nothing on the house, because remember, this is all value too. So if this is a high value home, it's just continuing to rise in value. But for me, I chose the private schools for something totally different, because it's college readiness, because they offer college courses, because I feel like it challenges my kids and puts them in positions that they wouldn't be able to be in.
Mhm.
They go to where did they go just this last year? Out of the country. I'll just say out of the country because brain fog. To to build houses and stuff like that. Private school doesn't give them I mean, public school doesn't give them the opportunity. So I still think at the end of the day, even though I live in a great area with great schools, it's still like a choice, which I know a lot of other parents that do that too.
Mhm.
Like, but if you had to choose, I have always chosen the location where they had the better schools at. At the sacrifice of everything else, driving the ugly car, we sharing cars, doing whatever needed to be done so that the kids could go to a good school. So that's important to me. Some people be like, girl, I don't care what school they go to. I need a roof over our head. That's all I care about. So it's
Okay.
individual.
Anybody else have any questions about location or selecting?
Oh, and also be mindful how far it is away from your job and stuff like that, and what you're willing. Like some people literally drive 2 hours without traffic, and an hour there and an hour back because they work deep down in Memphis and they want to live deep down in Mississippi. And that's okay, but I can't do that. So you have to be mindful of what you can do. You don't want to buy a house and find yourself in a position where you're, you know,
Yeah.
making a ridiculous drive or you need to quit your job. So I already kind of went over stuff like this, but I was just talking about the differences and the questions you need to ask yourself, because this is what um, I think people that's buying new construction looks at, do you want to be the first person to live in your home? Because some people say that. I don't want nobody else living in my home. I want to be the first person to live in my home, if that's important to you. And then you ask yourself how important is energy efficient, smart home features, and builder warranties, because these are things that you won't get from an existing home. You can get a home warranty, which we encourage when people are buying. We put them in the contract. Um, but a builder's warranty lasts much longer. And these are questions people ask, what type of warranty do I have? And it depends on the builder. There are some that are required by the state. So you're going to get a warranty regardless. And then sometimes people want to buy a house and they want to move right in. When you're looking at new construction, sometimes you have to be okay with waiting, because it's not all the home you want, or the one that's within your budget may not be built. It may be 4 months out, 5 months out, sometimes even up to 6 months, depending on where you want to start it. And do you enjoy choosing finishes and stuff? Because I have literally seen somebody break down. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time. It's like, I didn't know it took all this. And so you got to know whether you got the bandwidth to be answering all those questions and putting these things together, because a builder is not going to order these expensive floors and then put these countertops on there and take them off because you like, dang, I don't like the way they look together. So you got to be comfortable with choosing stuff like that, or just, let the builder do it. Um, and I said, do you enjoy it? Because some people actually get a kick out of that. They're like, they can't wait to get back in there. So you have to ask yourself what type of person you are. Personally, I just want to walk in and be like, "Ooh, this perfect." I don't have time to be picking out no floors or anything. And I know a home, it doesn't take me any time. I just need to know. It takes me a while to pick the area, but once I pick the area, it doesn't take me much time at all to say this is my house. And and I move in, that's kind of how I move. And the HOA, the community amenities, and the model home. I'm gonna say something about the model home. A lot of times I've had clients buy a house based on the model home. The model home is not your home. Unless you spend that money that they spent looking like that, are you buying that house because of the furniture? That's essentially what you're doing. So you have to ask yourself, is it the furniture I'm buying, or is it the actual house or floor plan? So these are things that we're looking at when we're looking at new construction. And so you can decide whether you are ready to go down that. Like I said before, I recommend it if you're not going to be there that long. I recommend it if you need some assistance, financial assistance, because they give out so much. I recommend it if you really want like a warranty that lasts longer than the average warranty. There's a lot of different things um, a lot of different benefits that you get from buying new construction. But then there's the downsides too. So you can move to the next slide.
Did you see the question? She said, how long normally are the builder's warranties?
Well, it depends on the builder, but the state of Mississippi has like I would say a 2, 5, 10, and don't quote me on that, but they have different like they have a cosmetic warranty, then they have a structural warranty, and then they have uh what do you call it? The things that's in the wall. So there's three different warranties. So and they're usually like 2, 5, and 10. So up to like 10 years on your structure.
And when you were talking about um, when you're talking about having to choose all the things, I don't know if people know this, but decision fatigue is real. Like
It
that's
is.
a real thing. So if you pay attention and you would have to make all these choices and you get frustrated by that, this is not what you need to be doing. Like you wouldn't know that until you just said, I didn't even think about that. But
Mhm.
even when I remember my daughter was planning for her wedding, at some point she just stopped making decisions. She was like, you just got to decide. When it was time for her to do for her home, and they start, initially it was exciting, but then they kept asking her questions about having to decide. She was like, okay, this is too much. So she's not a person who likes to make, she gets overwhelmed by that. So if you are that person, that is what she's talking about. Because decision fatigue is a real thing. It's like a real thing. So that's a good
But you
point.
can also get them already built too. New construction, they have some that's already ready. You just have to be prepared for you not to, like these aren't my favorite countertops, but I like the rest of the house, because unfortunately we do sometimes if we buy something that's already existing, there may be like little gives and takes, just not on your must-haves.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things you set still on. If it's a must-have, then you don't move on that. So, existing homes. These homes have character, what we like to call personality. Like they sit out and they have their own little thing going, and you can tell them from other houses or whatever they've been lived in. Sometimes somebody done already, added something that wasn't there. They've added character to it. They may have added molding. It looks different. So some people like farmhouse, style houses and some, traditional houses. It's just with existing homes, you have different options. With new construction, they're usually going to be in a community, smaller, unless you get custom built. And I'm going to say this because a lot of clients don't know this, is that custom built is very different from just new construction. Because with new construction, you can go in those communities. I'll use Grant and DR Horton for an example. You can go to DR Horton and have a 580 credit score, and you can still buy a house if you don't have people chasing you, right? You got they'll give you 10, you got to have your 10. You bring that to the table, and then you can buy a new house. Grant don't have their own lender, so they don't do that, but you can use a regular lender. That'll be something like a 620 credit score, and you have your FHA loan, and you can bring 3.5% to the table. If you are building a house from the ground up, they expect you to have some money, some skin in the game. They expect you to have much higher credit score. It's a whole different animal. So it is not the same as buying new construction and building new construction. Buying new construction is just like buying an existing home. We ain't got to do nothing different. Absolute nothing. But if you building, it's a whole different animal. So yeah. Anyway, so you have to ask yourself with older homes too, are you willing to do renovations? Because you may be like, I love the floor space, but I hate the bathrooms. They're outdated. They need to be upgraded, cosmetic updates. And you got to be realistic with yourself. Like, is this what I want? Will I sacrifice um square footage? I mean, would I sacrifice the newness for the square footage? Because new construction is going to be smaller than the existing home for the same price. So these are the things you're thinking about. Do I want the square footage in an older home, or do I want just new, crispy new? They're going to be different. Um, and about the neighborhood, do you want to establish a neighborhood? The trees are already overgrown, and the lake has been there for a while. The neighbors have been there forever. These things are important to some people, especially when people are homeschooling. I want to be in an established neighborhood where people know each other and stuff like that. So that's important to some people. And do you want to move as quickly as possible? Now, I did say 30 to 45 days on there, but I've gotten people closed a lot quicker. My lender has closed the deal in 14 days because my clients need it done. She didn't want to. She told me that's almost impossible. I said, well, let's try it. If you can't do it, it's understood, but let's try it. And she did it. So you can do that on new construction too. You can do new construction in 30 days too, but it has to be something that is either in phase 7 and almost built, or it's already built. But if it's coming from the ground up, that's not possible. And of course, I put in there, are you looking for a larger lot size or no HOA, which we've already discussed that, the homeowners association. I personally don't recommend it if you plan on selling, because now people are looking for it. People used to say, I want a house that's not in a HOA. Now people say, is there an HOA over here? Because they have a love-hate relationship with them as well. So if you're looking to resell your house, then a HOA is going to be wise. Unless it's sitting off on, a lot of land by itself. If you got a 3,000 square foot house that's sitting on 5 acres, nobody cares if it doesn't have a HOA, because you don't have neighbors to worry about that's close enough to worry about it's driving down your value.
So a question was, what are phases? I've heard you say phase 7.
Okay, phases are like, we have what we call the inspectors period. So the city has to go out during phases. When they finish like the foundation, the city has to inspect it. And then they have to get, the inspection, clear that inspection. And then when they got walls up, the city has to go back out and inspect it. So when I say phase 7, that means that they almost finished with it. So they have to go through a process, and the city has to come through and inspect it every process to make sure they're building it to code in order to get the certificate of living, which means that they're saying this house is livable now.
So they're going through it throughout the process. It's not just at the end.
Yep,
Okay. Okay.
because it requires different inspections. That's why a new construction inspector, like, there's different home inspectors. If you have a home inspector's license, you can inspect any home. But there are certain inspectors that can do new construction because they have to have their builder's license as well to do new construction. And I always recommend a home inspection. A lot of people don't like to get them on new homes because they say, well, it's new. And I'm like, you still don't know what you can find, what you'll find. But the home inspectors for the new construction are going to be certified builders as well. They could build a home themselves if they wanted to.
Gotcha.
So a home inspection is not required when you get the home?
Home inspection is never required. It's an option. I always highly recommend them though, because you can walk up to a house and it can look like a beautiful present, and then a home inspector is going to get in there and find things that you didn't know existed, like leaks and units that's old, that's not working properly, that's not getting cold, that's not getting hot. That gives you an opportunity to tell the seller to fix it or ask them to fix it. And then you guys, because there's a negotiation phase there, where it's like, well, this is what I found in a home inspection. This is what I would like for you to fix. If it's small stuff, sometimes people are like, that doesn't matter, but I need this handle. I need you to get this air conditioner done. And then sometimes people will fall out of escrow because they're like, this roof is too old. The home inspector said it ain't got but a year left, and the insurance is higher for it now. So then that's why we have an inspection period. And that's part of my job is to keep up with that inspection period while we're checking the roof, while we're looking at what's going on the inside the house, while we're checking for termites. We're doing all that during the inspection period. So then if it doesn't work out and you find you're like, oh my gosh, this is overwhelming, then you have an out. We can get your money back and we can move to the next house. With new construction, they're gonna fix everything that comes up on the list. There ain't no questions about it. They're gonna fix it so you don't have to worry about that. But with an existing home, sometimes the seller be like, sometimes they just can't afford to fix it, really. And then sometimes they're just like, you deal with it. And then it's up to you to say, yeah, somebody else gonna have to buy this house. So,
The question was, for new construction, would you still have a separate inspection not associated with the builder?
well, yes, it's your inspection. So you hire the inspector. The way new construction works is, they have a walkthrough with the buyer. Like they have two walkthroughs, and then one is just considered a before. The buyer can pick out whatever they see visually, and they tell you, okay, now it's ready for inspection if you want to hire an inspector. You go and inspect, you take your home inspection with you through your walkthrough, you identify all the stuff that you see visually, and then you add that list and then you give it to the builder and then they're fixing it. So that's not their inspection, it's your inspection. But if it's not by a licensed home inspector, they don't have to fix it. So that's why you have to hire somebody who is certified to do new construction. And that's where your realtor comes in as well, if you don't already know somebody. We typically keep a list of vendors who can, do these things that are qualified for them, and then they know the product. Well, I had a client today, I told her, I said, I recommend this home inspector because he knows their product. He knows what to look for, and if there's anything to be found, he's gonna find it, and then he'll bring it back to you. So the home inspection is not to be confused with the appraisal, which some people do confuse them. The appraisal the bank is gonna send out, and that is not a request, that's a requirement. They're gonna go out there and make sure that the house is valued at what you're agreeing to pay for it before they pay for it. So that's not a request. That's a requirement. The home inspection is up to you. If you want to take that house without looking at it or without checking out anything, they'll let you do that. But I don't recommend it.
So there's an appraisal versus inspection. So make sure you're not getting the two of those mixed up.
Right.
Okay. So, and you guys put in the chat if you are not a home buyer. So raise your hand in the chat if you're not, I'm sorry, not home buyer, not
Homeowner.
owner. If you currently are not a homeowner, raise your hand in the chat. So one of the questions, Telesa says, do certain grants and loans have specific requirements concerning inspections?
Not really the grants and loans, but the loans do have, like for instance, when they send out an the appraisal, if it's a FHA loan, because they're a little bit more strict than like conventional, and VA is a little stricter than conventional. But if it's like the roof is peeling or something where the property can be damaged, they're going to require that before they give it the value. So there is what we call lender required repairs. That means that the lender is saying, I'm not going to give the value for this house unless you fix this. So it's not necessarily the home inspection because they don't get into all that. But if they see peeling paint exposes wood. That's a problem for FHA. They're like, cover that up. If it's something that is not safe, that's a problem for FHA. They're gonna be like, fix that. They're not gonna move into a house that's not safe. So when it comes to things like that, yes, safety issues and when it can cause damage to the property.
The other next question is an inspector's fee based on the cost of the home or a flat rate?
It's based on the size of the house.
Okay.
How much square footage they have to inspect. So it can start anywhere from 250 and go up to like 600.
Okay. All right. Those are good questions. No question is too hard of a question. Don't think you're supposed to know something. If you're supposed to know it, you're probably a realtor. So,
that's right.
Yeah.
And you don't know because your auntie sold a house 50 years ago, because I promise you, honey, the struggle be so real. When they be like, my auntie used to sell houses in 1987. I'm like, baby,
Things have changed.
things have changed a lot. And you said used to. Like they were still signing documents with ink pens then. You know, you had to run around, you had to go to the office and see properties on a list then. So real estate is just different. But yeah, so no question is a stupid question.
So since you're talking about going to see homes, so if a person, what is the easiest way or the best way to start your home search? So you've been pre-approved, now you're trying to figure out just even where to start with finding a home, or where do you go? Is it somewhere you go online? Do you go directly to a realtor? So
I would say go directly to a realtor and online, because if you go directly to a realtor like myself, I would recommend you go to realtor.com if you're going to be looking online, because that one is connected directly to our MLS, versus Zillow is connected to our MLS, but they have a different purpose. Meaning they're a lead generating site. Because imagine that they get leads for free off our MLS, and then they sell them back to us, our own listers.
What
Imagine
word did you say? I couldn't hear. A lead. What did you say? A what?
leads. So it's a leads generating site, which means that the house that you're acquiring on, because I have clients that say you're not sure, your MLS is not showing me what's actually available. I seen this on Zillow, and I say, well, Zillow, that house is sold. It was sold 120 days ago, sometimes a whole year ago, but they keep it there because it draws people's attention. And then you're calling your realtor trying to see a house that's already sold. But their goal is to get you to call so that they can sell you to, that doesn't sound right. So they can sell sell the lead to a realtor. So realtor.com is the place to search for active, like current listings. Versus Zillow is going to give you some homes that are current listings and some that are, it's going to show active, but it's been sold forever.
What about Redfin?
Not accurate, huh?
What about Redfin?
I'm not really, I think I'm neutral when it comes to Redfin, because
Mm.
I do think that the properties are active there. But I just haven't really used them. I just say realtor.com because it's connected directly to our MLS and owned by the MLS. So you know what
Understood.
there is definitely accurate.
that's a good question right there.
So
Uh,
yeah, and when you go to your realtor also can set you up. Like for me, I can you can tell me what your requirements are, and I can set you up on automated emails where just what you're looking for will pop up in your email every day if that's how you want it. I can set it up where it comes to you once a week if that's more comfortable for you, or every day, or as stuff hit the market. But I also have a website that you can sign up and you can put your own criteria in it, and it'll just send you information. So yeah, there's different ways you can do it, just whichever way you're comfortable.
One of the questions is, what's the best place to start when looking for a home with two former homeowners, but they need help with credit building? When somebody comes says they need help with credit building, that's prior to you getting involved, because they'll be through their whole process before they come to you, like the approval. They have worked all that financial end out before they come to you.
No, actually, quite opposite. Like
Okay.
that's why I was going to start talking about the pre-approval process first, because people come to us first, and then that's why we work so close with lenders, is because we don't even send people to lenders unless we know or feel like they might be ready. So we ask them the pre-qualifying questions before we send them to a lender. So we know that if they haven't been working on their job for 2 years, most likely the lenders can't help them. So we'll ask them those pre-qualifying questions, and if they don't really know what their credit is, or if they know that it's not where it needs to be, I have a one lady, I only use one because she's licensed, bonded, been doing it for years, and she helped people repair their credit in the right way. Because a lot of people go to the credit repair people and they make it worse. They will take stuff off of your credit that shouldn't have been taken off because it's 10 years old. Nobody cares at this point. The lender would have rather seen that 10-year-old piece of whatever it is on your credit than not, and your credit score falls. It's like, how did my credit score fall? And now these lenders have an AI system where they can tell if you're riding somebody's credit, or if because a lot of people used to get away with that riding credit. Have you guys heard of that?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, typically what we do is we use it for our kids, right? We add them to our credit cards and stuff like that so we can help them build credit. It's this Caucasian started it, but a lot of us have picked up on it now. We add our kids to our credit cards, so by the time they're 18, they got good credit already because they've been riding their parents, credit
Mhm.
cards. And so there are, people will get on their grandma's card because grandma got a 900 score, and then all of a sudden in 3 months, now their score is like a 700 because it shows a high credit limit and it shows usage, right? But you don't actually use the card. You're just a authorized user. So, like my daughter, I never even gave her her card. She was just an authorized user. My 21-year-old authorized user. So then, so they don't actually use the card. Um, but there's, when it comes to your credit and stuff like that, you have to be real careful about that. I always say talk to the lender first because the lender may say, leave that $1,500 charge on there and take this $37 one off because this is a true story. Take that $37 one off. That's what's pulling your credit down. They take the $37 off, they do a rapid rescore, and now they're ready to purchase. So though sometimes those credit repair people don't do them no good. Sometimes I'll say, let's talk to the lender first and see what's on your credit, what's holding you back, and ask them what they recommend you do with it.
So I would say, Kim, is contact her to get her resource for um, her credit repair person.
If you need one, yes.
Next, are you able to request HOA rules and regulations before you put an offer in?
You can request it. We typically put the offer in and then request it during the inspection period. But yeah, you can definitely request it.
I think she answered that question, Lenita. Should you get a pre-approval before you start looking or before you speak with or hire a realtor? So I think she just answered that. She said, no, you don't have to. Um,
And yeah, you can start speaking with the realtor because what's new as of August 17th, 2024 is that you do have to have something signed with your realtor now. Used to be you could show in many houses and do whatever you want, but now you have to sign something with your agent before you even look at a house. And so then there's a process that different agents have now set in place. I have a system, some of them don't have no system at all, but it works better with the system. But if a client comes to me first, it actually gives me better control over their process going smoother. And because when I know your situation, like I know that if you have a 580, don't send you to this lender. I know that if you got a 620 and above, this lender right here is able to offer you a better interest rate. I know that if you're buying new construction, this is the lender that you need to use that's on everybody's approved list. Because new construction, a lot of them don't want to work with every lender. They have an approved list. And if you don't go with that approved list, then they won't give you incentives. Because they can't force you to go with their lender, but they can withhold their incentives lawfully. And so I think it's better to talk to an educated realtor that can lead you to your lender based on your real estate goals.
the question, does your bank account matter? Meaning I got pre-approved through my bank that I don't really keep any funds in, but that pre-approval expired. Should I do my new process through the bank where all of my funds are? Or do you think that will increase my pre-approval amount?
No, the amount of money that you have does matter, but it doesn't matter what bank it comes from. So you can take your bank statements to the bank that you're with if that's who you choose to go with, because they will want to see bank statements and, see how your money is moving. But it doesn't matter where the money is located.
All right. So you
You don't,
don't, if I'm understanding her question and your answer is you don't have to do your lending through the bank that you bank with.
that's
You don't,
right.
yes,
You
okay.
don't have to do the smart thing to do is do your lending with whoever offers you the better interest rate. Because if you want your house amount to increase, it's your interest rate that matters. Like, I think the example I gave on social media the other day, I had a client that was approved for $250,000. There was nothing that she wanted in the market for $250,000. So she said, so I asked her, so what, are you interested in DR Horton? And she said, well, I wasn't sure about DR Horton because the houses are much higher than my approval amount. And I said, yeah, but their interest rates are a lot lower too than what you're going to be paying. So she had gotten approved for 6.25, which is an excellent interest rate with community mortgage, I think it was. And then we went over to new construction and the house was 287.9. She got that house with a 4.99 interest rate, or it was 3.99. Either way, it was a lower interest rate, and she's paying $200 less a month, and the house costs more. So she's getting the house she want, and she's coming out with a lot less because she also had a closing cost paid by them. So what you want to do is try to find the best interest rate you can, because the house price doesn't matter as much as the interest rate does. That's how you increase your amount.
We have, how soon should you get a realtor? For example, if you know you want a new house at the end of 2026. When do you
Yeah,
start?
I will wait if you're trying to get if it's at the end of 2026, because that's a year. I would say give yourself, like, depending on what you're getting, if you're trying to do new construction and you want one that, has 6 months build time, then you start working on it, 6 months in advance or whatever. But the typical time you start looking is 3 months in advance. Because remember, you give yourself 30 days to look and then 30 days to close. Some people look and it takes them like a day to find a house, and then we 30 days. So, and your pre-approval is going to expire. So you start working with a realtor when you get closer to the time, because everything changes. Real estate is constantly moving, and we don't know if the market is going to go down, if it's going to go up, or whatever. So you should start looking into it when you get closer to 2026.
Oh, my niece is in Wisconsin. She said she's been looking for months. The market there is terrible. Um,
Is it the house? Is the house is terrible, or is it competitive? What about it is terrible?
the houses.
Or the houses are terrible? Probably the budget amount. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes unfortunately, we can't get approved for the amount uh, that'll pay for the house that we have in our mind. And that's really, really hard. And some people end up just renting. And then here's my thought. A starter home is not a bad idea. At least you're in the market, meaning that you don't have to buy your forever home that you're going to stay in for 30 years. If you can find a house that you can start out in, you can say, I can see myself living here for the next 3 to 5 years. You buy that house and then you put it back on the market after your position has changed, or you have more money saved, or and it's also a way for you to build some equity. Now, I always say 5 years is when you start to see equity in your house. I've been over here for 4, and Olive Branch is a little different because my house is increasing equity a great deal again, just like the one I was in before in Olive Branch. But Olive Branch is making moves that maybe Byhalia isn't, but Byhalia is increasing in value as well. So it depends on the area you're in. Just build a value. Because if you buy a house, let's just use a nice round number for 100,000, and then in 5 years now it's worth 150. So you got $50,000 there. You pay your realtor, you take your other however much money you got left, and you go put it into your next house, get a bigger house. And you just keep doing that until you where you want to be. That's what we did, because we were too broke to just go into where we wanted. So we use equity to ride to get to where we wanted to be.
How long does a pre-approval normally last?
Depends on the lender, but most times 3. Some are more extreme and they'll do 6 months, but the typical is 3 months.
Yes, okay. And they $300,000 homes in Wisconsin, but she said they still have to do is fix up old school tubs, all that great. When buying points on interest, what she said, is there a limit on points?
Yes, it depends on what the lender is offering. Most of them are only doing up to 2 points at a time. So 1 point, 2 point, and sellers and new construction
They can-
companies are paying down points for people as well. But so they have a limit on them. They'll do them for a year, 2 years, sometimes three. It depends on the lender. Most of these things are lender specific.
So with the points you just said like two, so it wouldn't be fixed.
Not if you're buying down points. No. Now, like with DR Horton, how I said that the rate was like 4.99, that's a fixed rate. But if you buy down points, that means that you took your rate from 6.125 to a 4.125 if you did 2 points, but it's for 2 years. So now you got 2 years. If the rates go down, then your rate will go down with it. If it goes up, at least you won't go past the 6.125. So if it goes up to 8 when your 2 years are up, you still at 6.125. So it don't get worse, but you're not sure if it's gonna get better.
So the one you said 4.99, you said they just had that, or you said it was um
Well, DR Horton, that builder owns their own lending company. And so they're going to always be at minimum 1 point lower than the entire market, usually two. And then if you have relationships with the agents and stuff like that, so I make it my business to stay on top of it. I've had them drop that whole point for one of my clients because he couldn't afford they had it at at 4.99. And when I finished negotiating, they gave my client a 3.99 so that he could afford the house. So they have their own lending company, so they make their own rules. They got their own money. Versus the bank goes off the federal government.
So question was, what are points on interest?
Huh?
Someone asked, what what are points on interest? Like, what are you referring to?
No, the points are just like, for instance, if the interest rate is 6.1 and you buy it down, then now you're at 4.1. So you bought it down 2 points.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
I got it. So you mentioned it's a buyer's market. Would you say there's a surplus of new construction in DeSoto County, which could make getting free upgrade incentives easier, or are they building conservatively little by little?
Oh no, baby, they are coming in. I think
Or
things
no?
are starting to slow a little bit because I've seen a lot of builders dropping their price by 10,000. I mean, just this week, I've seen a lot of houses drop by 10,000, but they're trying to regulate the market anyway. The government claims they're trying to regulate the market so that houses can be a little bit more affordable. But yeah, there is kind of an influx of building. Like Skylight Construction has bought like a gazillion lots right here on Center Hill Road, and they're building a whole community over there. D.R. Horton is building in Olive Branch. Grand Homes is building in Olive Branch. Now we have Meridian is building in Olive Branch. So there's a ton of new construction coming up. And new construction is actually up in sales versus existing homes are down 18%.
Going back to the points, does that mean that you put up more money towards the initial payment to reduce interest?
Because essentially that's what you're doing, really. You're paying the money up front. If the lender is not going to say that, but that's essentially what it is. You're paying it on the front end. So yes, it is it does cost more to buy down your points.
Good question, you guys.
Yeah, these are good questions.
Awesome, Deidre. Okay, so who should contact you? Like, who would be a good person to contact you now? Like,
For me,
yes.
somebody who is ready to make a move and just don't know where to start. They don't have to have nothing together to contact me. I will lead them in the right direction. I have a lot of clients that come to the table. They haven't talked to a lender. They haven't even decided where they want to live. They don't know anything. They're just saying, I've been thinking about buying a house and I wanted to talk to you and see where to start. So you can come to me at any time, but there's no requirements.
Okay.
But if you're ready to start looking at houses, you need to have already spoken with a lender and know how much you want to spend and where you want to buy it. And then I can take it from there.
Gotcha. Are you familiar with NACA?
And at NACA, yes, I
Yeah.
am.
And what's your professional opinion of those programs?
Well, I will say I will say that NACA is nationwide, but I know here in our area they're not. Um, I don't recommend them. The last person that came to me and told me she was going through a NACA program, she had been going through it for 2 years. I got her approved in 2 days, and then she was in a house 32 days later. So our whole process went under 35 days versus she had been waiting, and then she was able to still get a program because the NACA, there are government programs that you can go through that'll give you the same amount of money that they give you because you qualify because you're in a certain income bracket, and you don't have to go through all that unnecessary trouble because it depends on who's running the program. Because I've heard in some areas it's okay. Down here in Memphis, they stink, in my opinion. That's my personal opinion and
Yes,
my
we
experience.
any other question, you guys? Good information, good conversation. So hopefully you feel like you have something. You got her information. Can you give a tip or tips for a couple? Wait, what'd she say? Can you give a tip or tips for a couple with who have two separate homes trying to buy a new together? How would you instruct?
Are you planning on selling one of those homes or both of those homes?
Yes, like if the couple, typically like a ex, yeah, they have a home that she's selling, he has to sell, and they're trying to sell those homes to purchase a new one together.
Well, I would recommend going to an experienced lender that will allow you to buy a house contingent upon sale. But you need to put them on the market as soon as possible, and they'll give you an approval amount contingent upon those houses selling. Because what happens is it contributes to your DTI. And so um, if you don't have it on the market and they're doing contingent upon sale, then it's going to go towards your DTI, which decreases the amount of house that you guys can afford together.
So that goes back to the question: if you know the couple, if we know we're wanting a new house at the end of 26, how does that work with trying to sell and he trying to sell his house? I'm trying to sell my house and trying to we try. That's why I was like, how soon does that work?
Okay,
When you say
so
put it on the market as soon as, what does that what does that look like?
well, okay, so I think I didn't realize that it was related to this one. I would say wait until you get closer, unless you want to be, renting or something while you guys wait, because a house hopefully doesn't take that long to sell. Um, So if your goal is to sell and buy by the end of 2026, I would say wait, but it's still the same things apply though. Like you would still go to a lender who is educated, know what they're doing, and tell them that you guys have two homes that you want to sell, and they will take those mortgage amounts because you guys have a mortgage on them, right? Or are they paid for?
Yes, no mortgage.
Okay, so then they'll take those mortgage amounts and they would discount them from your DTI and say, as long as you got these houses on the market and sell them, because some people wait until they find a house and then try to put it on the market and they've lost the house. So I would say you have to step out, go ahead and put the houses on the market or at least one of them, you know, um, go ahead and get that sold because it matters towards your DTI. And, did that answer the question?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
You sure? Because what I'm saying is the market is so iffy and nobody can predict it but God. If you put your house on the market now, then you're going to be looking for a place to rent if you're waiting to buy to 20, in 2026. Because this is, you know what? Gosh, 2026 is on its way. This
But
is,
she's saying at the end of it though.
oh my gosh, but I was thinking 2 years. I don't know what I was thinking. But yeah, so at the end of 2026, December 2026, if you put your house on the market now, it's going to sell. I don't know what the market is like next year in mid-June. So if the houses are flying off the market, then you can wait to put it on the market. If it's taking forever to sell, then you need to put it on there in advance. But I can't like technically say exactly what to do this far in advance because the market changes so much.
So is it a certain time? Let's go with seasons. Are seasons typically better in the market when you're selling? I mean, I guess like summer or fall, spring, does
Well,
that?
spring we call it real estate season, but crazy enough, I do more deals in August than any other month of the year. So that's personally like the the months that I do the most business, but based on experience and based on the facts and what they recommend in the real estate industry, they say spring is the best time to sell because people are getting married. School is getting ready to, be out. People trying to find a home. I would say December is the worst time to sell. It's you still probably find somebody, but it is the worst time to sell because it's the holiday season and not a lot of people out looking at houses. But other than that, I would say anytime. You got your best and you got your worst. And the rest of it is just a God help me.
Is it that? Was there another question? They asked about programs. Do you know any other programs besides NACA? And then are there any national programs that are not income-based restricted?
Programs that aren't income based. I really don't know any programs that's not income based. I know that FHA now goes up to 650,000, which they used to be at 4. So you can, get a nicer size house and then not be worried about your income as much as they used to be. But here, I would say the Mississippi Home Corps is, like a good program to try and qualify for. We also have the USDA, depending on the area, that's 100% down payment because the government is the only entity that can give you down payment assistance or your family, your close-knit family, your mama, grandma, somebody like that. So the down payment has to be something that either comes from you or one of those two entities, the government or your family. But I would recommend if you're in Mississippi and not doing the NACA program, that you see if you can qualify for the Mississippi Home Corps. I've seen people actually take money home from doing that because they had help with the closing costs. Because closing costs and down payment are two different things. So you can get help with the closing costs, but you can't get help with the down payment. So I've seen people have help with the down payment, and then when the government gives them the grant, then they are not coming to the table with nothing. I've seen somebody walk away with 500 some dollars. So
Oh, it does. Do other states have something similar to Mississippi court, or is that something that's unique to Mississippi?
honestly, I don't know because
Okay.
I only know about the states that I'm licensed in, like Mississippi and Tennessee, and I'm learning Arkansas. So I don't know outside of our area
Gotcha. Okay.
because it is state specific.
Hmm.
So you're saying that Tennessee doesn't have anything like
No,
Mississippi
Tennessee
Court?
does. Tennessee has oh my gosh, girl, I just had another one of those.
Brain fogs.
Yeah, one of those brain fogs. But yes, Tennessee does have something. Actually, Tennessee currently has a $25,000 program. Now you will have to pay that back, and the lender can explain it to you better. But they do. They have a $25,000 up to $25,000 grant that they are giving out. So Tennessee actually has more money than Mississippi when it comes to helping out. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, you guys. You see her contact information. I encourage you to reach out to her directly. And tell us, you didn't put your book. How do they find out more about the book that you wrote?
So I have a website, lookbackforwhat.com. That's look back for what, literally the way I said it. Or it's available on Amazon, available on Target.com, is Barnes and Noble, it not Etsy, eBay. So it's available just about anywhere you would shop. But I prefer you get it off my website.
Is that correct how I put it?
Yep, that's it.
Well, check her out because I always like to when we have guests that come on and share their expertise, I also always want my our tribe to know what else you offer so that we can check it out and support it as well. So wonderful. Do you have any last words or anything that you hopefully everybody got it. I'm gonna share. Any last words that you want to share, close with?
Well, I will say this since we did bring up my book. If I'm starting patio conversations this summer, and what that looks like is where a woman would open up her patio, her porch, or her backyard, whatever she feels comfortable with, invite 10 to 15 women, and we have conversation. It's real conversation, it's authentic conversation, and it's from topics from my book. Because my book is very, very personal. Some people can't handle reading it. It's so personal, but I feel like women need to have more conversations that are real, that talk about things that we keep to ourselves. And I want to provide that space where we can feel free and safe to say, this is what I'm going through. These are the challenges I'm having. So that's why I created it where women can invite the people that they feel close to so that they can feel, comfortable opening up and things of that nature. And the goal is for women, I'll come to the first one, but the goal is for them to continue having conversations so that we can have um, help with making sure our mental status stays level where it's supposed to be. Women help with that. And like you said, when women say they don't like women, it's because, and I used to be that way. When I met you, do you remember when I met you? I did not fool women like that. But that is not the call God had for my life. That was because I was hurt and broken. And it wasn't even the women. I just thought it was them. It was me. So anyway. So anyway, that's all I have to say. I want to thank you guys. And if you guys know anybody who's looking to buy or sell real estate, off my information, please do share it. I set up appointments. I have a calendar online. And even if it's just for questions, I'm available. So thank you guys for being here and thank you for the questions. And thank you, Denise. I really appreciate anytime I have an opportunity to be in your presence. You're a wonderful woman. And yes,
This
that's it.
All right, you guys have a great night. Have a great night, and definitely. And if you were, I wish y'all to grab the link for the information of the last one. So if you, because that 662 number, if you want a copy of the video, the Let's Talk About It Tuesday that talked about the financial end of getting yourself ready, getting yourself mortgage ready, all the different, if you want a copy of that video, the link to that, just text me at that 662 number and I can send you that link for that so that you can have that information, and the conversations both tie well together as well. So thank you guys. Have a blessed evening. Thank you again. Continued success to you, Miss Telesa. We have to get together for lunch, and I always remember our one little saying, when you stay in your lane, you get slayed. You step out, you get slayed. Remember?
You told me you need to create a t-shirt.
I don't know how many years ago that was. So, but wonderful, wonderful. So thank you guys.
Thank you,
Have a great
Telesa.
night.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye, you guys.
Bye-bye.